Welcome to the Psychology in 15 Minutes podcast with Dr. Michael Leptic, where we discuss all things psychology, mental health, and addiction. Welcome to today's episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Psychology in 15 Minutes, the podcast where we break down important topics in psychology, mental health, and human behavior in a way that fits your busy life. I'm your host, Dr. Michael Leptic, and today we're diving into a topic that is often talked about but not always practiced, prioritizing mental health the same way we prioritize our overall physical health. Let's start with a simple question. When was the last time you actively checked in on your mental health the same way you might check your physical health? Most of us know the importance of eating well, exercising, staying hydrated, and getting enough sleep. We go to the doctor when something feels off physically, but when it comes to our mental and emotional well-being, many people tend to ignore it until it becomes overwhelming. Today we're going to talk about why mental health deserves equal attention, what happens when we neglect it, and how we can begin to treat it as a daily priority. It's important to note mental health is health. One of the biggest misconceptions is that mental health is separate from physical health. In reality, they are deeply connected. Your thoughts, emotions, and stress levels directly impact your body. For example, chronic stress can lead to headaches, fatigue, digestive issues, weakened immune function, and even increased risk for heart disease. Anxiety can affect sleep, concentration, and energy levels. Depression can impact motivation, appetite, and physical movement. So when we ignore mental health, we're not just ignoring emotions, we're impacting our entire system. Think about it this way. If you had a persistent physical symptom like chest pain or a high fever, you wouldn't just push through it indefinitely. You would seek care. Mental health symptoms deserve the same level of attention. Why don't we prioritize mental health? If mental health is so important, why do so many people neglect it? There are a few key reasons. First, stigma. Despite progress, there is still a lingering belief that struggling mentally is a sign of weakness. People may feel embarrassed, ashamed, or afraid of being judged. Second, invisibility. Unlike a broken bone or a visible injury, mental health challenges are not always obvious. This makes it easier to minimize or ignore them. Third, productivity culture. Many people are conditioned to push through exhaustion, stress, and emotional strain in order to meet expectations, whether at work, school, or in daily responsibilities. And finally, lack of awareness. Some individuals don't recognize the early signs of mental health struggles. They may normalize chronic stress, irritability, or burnout without realizing these are signals that something needs attention. What is the cost of neglecting mental health? When mental health is not prioritized, it doesn't simply go away. It builds. Over time, untreated stress can turn into burnout. Anxiety can become more intense and harder to manage. Depression can deepen, affecting daily functioning, relationships, and overall quality of life. Neglecting mental health can also impact decision-making, communication, and behavior. People may withdraw from others, struggle with concentration, or engage in unhealthy coping strategies such as substance use or avoidance. In more serious cases, ignoring mental health can lead to crisis situations that could have been prevented with earlier support and intervention. The key takeaway here is that small, consistent attention to mental health can prevent larger problems down the road, just like preventative care in physical health. What does it actually look like to prioritize mental health? It doesn't mean eliminating stress entirely. That's not realistic. Instead, it means recognizing your mental and emotional needs and responding to them in a consistent, intentional way. This can include self-awareness, taking time to check in with yourself. How am I feeling? What am I thinking? What do I need right now? Boundaries. Saying no when necessary, protecting your time and energy. Rest. Allowing yourself to recharge without guilt. Healthy coping strategies, using tools like mindfulness, journaling, or physical activity to manage stress. Connection, maintaining supportive relationships and not isolating yourself. And seeking help, talking to a therapist, counselor, or trusted individual when needed. Prioritizing mental health is not a one-time decision, it's a daily practice. Just like physical health is influenced by daily habits, so is mental health. Let's look at a few key habits that make a difference. First, sleep. Poor sleep can increase anxiety, irritability, and difficulty concentrating. Nutrition. What you eat affects how you feel. Balanced nutrition supports brain function and mood regulation. Movement. Physical activity is not just for the body, it also releases chemicals in the brain that improve mood and reduce stress. Mindfulness. Being present in the moment can reduce overthinking and help regulate emotions. Digital boundaries. Constant exposure to social media and information can increase stress and comparison. Setting limits can protect mental space. When these habits are consistent, they create a strong foundation for mental health. There are times when self-care alone is not enough, and that's important to recognize. Some signs that you may need additional support include the following: persistent feelings of sadness or anxiety, difficulty functioning in daily life, changes in sleep or appetite, loss of interest in activities, feeling overwhelmed or emotionally exhausted, trouble concentrating or making decisions. Seeking help is not a sign of failure. It is a proactive step toward well-being. Therapy, counseling, and support groups provide tools, insight, and space to process experiences in a healthy way. It's so important that we shift the mindset. To truly prioritize mental health, we need to shift how we think about it. Instead of viewing it as something to address only when there's a problem, we can begin to see it as a part of everyday maintenance, just like brushing your teeth or exercising. Mental health is not just about avoiding illness, it's about building resilience, emotional balance, and a meaningful life. It's also important to understand that prioritizing mental health is not selfish. When you take care of your mental well-being, you are better able to show up for others, perform effectively, and handle challenges. Remember, the small steps can start today. If you're wondering where to begin, start small. Here are a few simple steps you can take today. Take 5 minutes to pause and check in with yourself. Identify one stressor and one way to manage it. Set one boundary that protects your time or energy. Reach out to someone you trust. Engage in one activity that brings you a sense of calm or enjoyment. Small, consistent actions build long-term change. In closing, mental health is not separate from overall health. It is a core part of it. Ignoring it doesn't make it go away, but prioritizing it can transform how you feel, think, and live. Just like you wouldn't neglect your physical health, your mental health deserves the same level of care, attention, and respect. As you move through your day, consider this. What is one thing you can do to support your mental health today? Thank you for listening to Psychology in 15 Minutes. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to share it and join us next time as we continue exploring topics to support your growth, well-being, and understanding of the human mind. Take care of yourself and remember, your mental health matters.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Psychology in 15 Minutes podcast with Dr. Michael Leptic. Be sure to like and subscribe to be notified of future content. And remember, your mental health matters.